Hello, everybody. Welcome back to my little corner of the internet, and welcome back to the third episode of the Taking Liberties Pro Wrestling Podcast. Now, sorry guys, I'm a little late. I inadvertently took a week off. Didn't plan on it, but it's just the way life goes sometimes. But I do want to say that the YouTube channel and everything else is certainly growing, except the Twitter. Go ahead and follow that at TLProWrestPod on Twitter.com. Um, but yeah, everything's growing. Sorry I took a week off. But if you want to listen, you can go ahead and find me on Spotify or Google Podcast or Anchor or Breaker. Not Apple Podcasts yet. I'm working on that one, but soon. All right, so this week on the episode, we are going to be talking about TNA Final Resolution 2005. And by the way, if you guys have any suggestions on what show you would like me to review, the random show that I review, you can go ahead and leave a comment or you can go ahead and tweet me on the Twitter at TLProWrestPod, or you can leave a comment on my YouTube video or whatever. But yeah, go ahead and share your opinions, guys. I wanna know what you guys think. So yeah, without further ado, I guess we can go ahead and just jump right on into it. Okay, TNA Final Resolution 2005. So immediately, I just want to go ahead and let you guys know that when I was watching the most recent episode of Impact, they did not mention that was the Go Home episode. I don't even remember how I found out. I just kind of had to go ahead or I looked up online for some reason about Impact and saw that it was like TNA Impact Final Resolution 2005, and the date was January 16th. I was like, wait a minute, what the fuck? I just reviewed the January 14th episode of Impact. Yeah, so that threw me for a loop. I didn't even know that I was going to be reviewing this pay-per-view. I mean, I planned on reviewing the pay-per-views, but I didn't know I was going to be reviewing it this soon. I was given no warning. I didn't know it was the Go Home show. But without further ado, let's just go ahead and jump right on into it. So they start with a really good promo package just showing the contestants for everybody gunning against Jeff Jarrett's NWA World Heavyweight Championship. The contestants were... I'm trying to do it from memory. I got notes, but I didn't write it right here. I believe it was DDP, Kevin Nash, and the alpha male Monty Brown. So they have pyro, but it's not as bad as it's been. But I mean, come on, TNA, you're not making a whole lot of money. You don't really need to be doing pyro. The commentators, they run down the show, and then we cut back to a backstage segment between Shane Douglas and Jeff Jarrett, just saying. Douglas is just asking, like, well, what if so-and-so wins, or what if this person wins, then what will you do? And Jarrett's just like, well, I don't deal in what ifs. They're not ready, blah, 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 blah. And then the first matchup we have is 3 Live Crew, which is BG James, Conan, and Ron Killings, versus Michael Shane, who, if I remember correctly, is Shawn Michaels' cousin, with Kazarian and Daniels. So Conan and Daniels start off, and the two guys just do really good technical wrestling and transitions. K-Dog has wrist control for the majority of the match and just does generally some good lucha things. Ron Killings, he's always been great, honestly, just been so fluid and crisp. It was very weird in this match seeing Kaz. The K-A-Z, I think, is what he was going by. He didn't say Kaz at the time, he was the K-A-Z, but it was weird seeing him with so much hair. Like, I've definitely seen him with hair, and I'm more used to seeing Kaz with hair than without. But seeing him have so much hair was weird. Like, it was already shoulder length and then like tied up in a ponytail. It was like the classic James Storm hairdo. And question: is it just me? Like, I don't know. I feel like I've noticed this in a lot of Christopher Daniels matches, but he seems to always take like a pop-up powerbomb spot. Like, say somebody will whip him into the ropes and he'll go for a Harrington Run or whatever. He always seems to get the powerbomb. It seems to always happen. But after he gets powerbombed, everyone just starts to get in the ring and brawl. Daniels and Kaz get thrown out, which leave 3 Live Crew in the ring with Shane. K-Dog hits the K-Factor and goes for a pin, even though he isn't the legal man, Ron Killings was. The ref counts it anyway. There's a kick out who gets pulled down by Daniels, and then he's held from behind by Kaz in like a is it a tiger suplex? God, don't quote me on that. I'm sorry if I'm wrong. I think it's a tiger. I know it's not a butterfly. I'm pretty sure dragon is the full Nelson, right? So I think it's a tiger. He holds him in the tiger suplex position, and he obviously Kaz holds Killings in this position, and then Daniels is gonna go for an Arabian press, but he moves. But Killings moves, and then Daniels does the Arabian press on to Kaz, and then I'm not even sure what to call it, but Conan and BG James each hold a leg of Michael Shane, and they hold him in the heart attack position, and then R-Truth does that like spin leg kick lariat thing that he does, and they got the pin with that. So then we toss to a backstage segment with Dusty Rhodes and Tracy Brooks and fuck, what was that dude's name? Shit, Fair Play. Holy shit. Um, so it's a backstage segment with Dusty, Tracy, Fair Play, and Trinity. By the way, if you're wondering who any of these people are, Fair Play and Trinity, they don't really get mentioned. I mean, like, I plan on reviewing this podcast as if TNA were just happening right now, and I just picked an episode or picked a week of TNA and started brand new, and I'm expecting them to explain everything to me as a new viewer. I've not yet been explained who these people are yet, so I cannot explain it to you guys. I mean, I, for the most part, know who they are because I've been watching TNA for years. But I'm just reviewing it how the show is presented to me, guys. So anyway, the whole segment basically just leads to Dusty tells the three to find a clue, and then whoever finds a clue or clues or whatever has to bring it back to Dusty, and then they will be rewarded, quote unquote, by Dusty. All right, next up we got Primetime versus Sanjay Dutt. The first thing I noticed that for whatever reason, Sanjay, he did the same transition 3 times, like the same exact he did a wrist lock to a hammerlock to a headlock 3 times in a row, just literally for no reason. Like it wasn't like he was even jockeying for control. It's not like they were going back and forth. It was no, I'm just gonna transition from a headlock back to the rest, back to a hammerlock, back to the headlock. Like for no reason. I don't understand why he did it. I think it was literally just a spot to do. But Primetime just pushes him off. The two turn it up, and then Sanjay Dutt rotates around Primetime twice with the head scissors takedown, the good old lucha style one. Sanjay just works over the arm for a bit. He goes up top, and Primetime gives him a drop kick out of the ring. Primetime with a gross looking spine buster where he picks up Sanjay by the arm and shoulder, like hooks him right under the arm. He hooks him right under the armpit. Excuse me. He hooks him under the armpit while also grabbing onto the same arm of said armpit and just tosses him to the mat, and it's fucking terrible. Dutt does a sunset flip powerbomb from the top rope, which leads to a comeback. And then in said comeback, he does a very, very high angle back suplex. Not quite a backdrop driver, but very high angle back suplex. Dutt then goes for the Hindi press, which is a Phoenix splash, and then he misses it. Then Primetime plants him with a tilt-a-whirl Yanage, and it's the win. Backstage segment, Nash proposes to DDP that they take out Brown, so it can just be the two of them in the match later, so they can just go at it like gentlemen, and then they would hypothetically be more fresh going into the match later against Jeff Jarrett. Next is Kid Cash versus Dustin Rhodes. This match was boring as fuck, actually. Cash feigns a knee injury, and then he starts working over Dustin's knee. He does a shoot headbutt. They lie on the mat in a figure four for about 2 minutes. He counters on Cash, and it was actually then when I noticed that the design on Kid Cash's tights. So it was KK, but there was a yin yang symbol. right in the middle of the KK. So really, it just said cock on his tights. Rhodes has to pretend that he can't reach the ropes when he's in a sleeper, even though he is literally over the ropes. And by that, I mean his hand is essentially out of the ring and he's casting a shadow over the bottom rope. Cash pushes the ref. The ref pushes Cash back. Rhodes hits a bulldog, and then the ref has a fast count, or he does a fast count and wins. And ugh, see, I'm already fucking trying to get to this match. He the ref does a fast count, and Dustin wins. Fair Play finds a clue up next, and then the next match is Raven versus Eric Watts. It's a very nothing happening match, and according to my notes here, this is when so sometime whenever I was watching the show, the whole like Wi-Fi and cell phone towers in my city just completely went down. No one had any internet or any cell service, and I was watching this on my cell phone. So when that happened, it just immediately took me out of the mood. So I don't know how my notes are going to reflect from there on out, but yeah, I was very discouraged trying to continue watching. Honestly, I didn't continue watching the show after that because I just didn't want to anymore. So it's a regular match, and Raven he's cheating the whole time behind the ref's back, but he sets up a chair and throws Watts right into it, and the ref does nothing. So what was the point of having to cheat behind the ref back if the ref just wasn't going to do anything? Watts does a facebuster into Raven onto the chair. Raven no-sells it and then gets back up for Watts. Watts, he tries to turn inside out from a clothesline from Raven, but he flip bumps the wrong way. So, like, if someone is coming at you from a lariat, say their right side is going to hit you. If you do a flip bump, more than likely you're going to twist to the right. So, one, your own momentum, and two, their momentum can carry you and flip you to this bump. Eric Watts, he turned to the left for whatever reason. He turned to the left, did a flip bump. So he ended up perpendicular to Raven by the time he landed. It was fucking terrible. The finish comes when Eric Watts botches a choke slam, so they have to do it again, and then Watts gets the win. Raven feigns an apology, and then he throws a trash can at Watts, which causes him to fall into a crevice between the stage and the fans, and the commentators are selling this like it's absolute death. Next, Roddy Piper comes out as the special guest referee for a match between Scott Hall and Jeff Hardy. So before the match starts, the guys get checked for any hidden objects or whatever. Hardy is checked first, and then Hall. So it's really weird. Piper, he spreads them, right? So he checked Hardy like you would, the guy picks up the leg, you check the leg, check the other leg, check the wrist tape, whatever. For Hall, he turned him around, leaned him against the ropes, spread his legs, started patting him down. I'm like, God damn, fuck. And then there's this call from fucking Don West. And okay, so Piper's finding items, like he's finding a chain and brass knucks or whatever. He's finding all these foreign items inside of the gear of Scott Hall. And then Don West says, I wonder if Scott Hall has ever been in that position. And Mike Tenay is just appalled by that. And I'm stunned by it too, because I'm like, what the fuck? For anyone that doesn't know, two things. There's two reasons I actually say that. Scott Hall, when he, while currently going through his real life demons of being an alcoholic, being portrayed as an alcoholic on TV. That and the fact that Scott Hall has also murdered a guy. So yeah, it's a very weird call from Don West. I don't know why he said that. So the bell finally rings, and then for whatever reason, Hall decides to frisk Piper. And then he finds that Piper has handcuffs on him, and he just tosses him. Mike Tenay brings up the fact that these guys' first match ever against one another was in the WF. Don't know why he needed to say that, but sure. I noticed that Scott Hall looked both really good and really bad. Well, no. He looked kind of good and really bad in this match. And by that, I mean 2005 Scott Hall was fucked. Uh, he was really fucked at the time. He was moving a lot better than I thought he would. He was wrestling competently, but the part where he looked really bad is that he was blown up almost immediately. He just looked so weathered. I mean, you know, addiction and shit will do that to you. He just looked so tired. There's a ref bump. Piper gets bumped, and because he's the ref, obviously he doesn't just get back up immediately like a wrestler. Hall finds Brass Knuckles. They were hidden in the turnbuckle. He finds Brass Knuckles hidden in the turnbuckle. Piper gets up and catches him. Piper pokes him in the eye, and then Jeff does his finishing sequence, which is the Twist of Fate and the Swanton, and then fast count by Piper for the win. That's the second match of 3. So 1 and 3 that had a fast count. Mind-boggling. Same finish, 2 matches apart. That's wild. So Abyss just kind of comes out of nowhere and attacks Jeff Hardy, and then he hits him with the Black Hole Slam, the shock treatment. Reverse though, it was a shock treatment first, and the Black Hole Slam. And just quick shout out. Abyss's theme has always fucked so hard. I love it. Oh man, that dun 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 dun. That always popped me whenever I heard it. Next up, we got Monty Brown versus Kevin Nash versus DDP, with the winner facing Jeff Jarrett for the belt later. DDP and Nash take turns having a one-on-one with Monty Brown. Mike Tenay says that this triple threat match can be won by pinfall, submission, or tossing an opponent over the top rope, even with the final 2 guys, which I thought was a little strange, but sure. And I'm glad that I made that note, because immediately after Tenay said that, Nash gets tossed over the top rope, and then he gets eliminated. So if I hadn't made that note, I would have been very confused. Nash gets tossed over when DDP and Nash start finally working together to beat up Brown. But at some point, for whatever reason, Nash just rushes. Well, I can't. Whatever reason it is, winner take all for the championship, or for a championship opportunity. Nash rushes DDP. DDP low bridges him, and then Nash gets eliminated. Okay, so I made this note because this is the week of Backlash 2020. I think that was a pay-per-view. And on this pay-per-view, Randy Orton did a real nasty, lovely little thigh slap when he went to go punt Edge. And the thigh slap has really been on my mind all week. And Monty Brown did a goddamn thigh slap when he went to go shoot DDP into the corner, and I fucking lost it. Like, I had to pause the show because I was dying. Like, why would he do that? Well, I know why he would do that. It was to signal that he hated it. But just a thigh slap, slapping his own thigh so he can shoot somebody off into the corner. That killed me. So the finish comes when DDP goes for a diamond cut, but Brown counters, shooting him off into the ropes, and then he hits him with the Pounce! Period. And the next match we got on the card is for the NWA TNA World Tag Team Championships, and it is between AMW, America's Most Wanted, that being the Wildcat, Chris Harris, who, oh man, remember when everyone thought that he was going to be the Shawn Michaels? Crazy. It's him and James Storm versus Team Canada, that being, it was Eric Young and Bobby Roode with Scott D'Amore. So the two teams brawl. Team Canada's coming out, and AMW just go attack them on the ramp. And for whatever reason, the bell rings when they're out of the ring. Like, the guys are brawling. Team Canada has not made it to the ring. They've not officially stepped into the ring. I don't know why this match has officially started, but the bell does ring when they're brawling into the ring, or they're brawling on the ramp. So if that's the case, then realistically the ref should have counted. It's been thrown out, but whatever. I'm not exactly sure when it happened, but Eric Young gets a big-ass knot on his forehead, like the size of a golf ball. It's pretty bad. So the two teams finally get back into the ring, and then Team Canada are on top for a while. And, you know, they're just doing the basic heel things, cutting off the ring, cheating when the ref is not looking. There's this one moment where Rude slapped his own hand to make the sound of a tag while the ref was turned. And then while knowing that Rude was not the legal man when he turned his back, he went to Rude and said, "Hey, you're not the legal man." And then Rude just simply clapped his hands again, doing the tag or making a tag sound. And the referee just was like, "Oh, well, all right. Well, damn, Rudy, holy shit." Storm hits an Enziguri onto Young, who does a front bump from the apron to the floor, which, no thank you. That's not sold for very long. And then, Young just gets back in the ring and then he does an onto Storm. And, okay, I will not have this debated. Eric Young has one of the best elbow drops in professional wrestling. For sure, currently, possibly history. And I won't hear anything of it. So, yeah, feel how you want about that, but you're wrong if you think otherwise. After Harris goes for a hot tag, well, he gets the hot. So Storm tags Harris in. Rude breaks up a pin that's happening to Young, and then Storm does a power slam onto Rude and then goes for a pin. And then the ref counts. Like, wait a minute. Wait a minute. I know it's not lucha rules. Like, I know guys aren't just rolling out of the ring and then be the legal man. But for some reason, the illegal guy is in the ring beating up another legal guy, doesn't move, the ref counts it, like, just counts it as if it would matter. I don't. Oh, man. Alrighty. So after that very confusing thing, there's a really dangerous looking Tower of Doom spot which leads all men to fall down. The guys get up and then Storm finally hits Rude with a super kick, but as the ref goes for 3 count, Scott D'Amore pulls him out of the ring. America's Most Wanted cuff D'Amore, and they hit the heart attack on Young for a near fall. Johnny Devine comes out for a distraction. Then the ref gets distracted, obviously. And then Devine breaks a hockey stick over the back of Storm, and it's a near fall. There's a lot of incredibly close near falls, but the finish comes when Devine attempts to slide in a chair and is stopped by Harris. Rude does a lariat onto the back, or Rude does a lariat to his back, similar to the finish of the match from the other week. And then Harris very obviously slides into position, foot on the bottom rope. Devine is gloating, thinking that the match is won, but it's not. Young attempts to, I assume, grab the chair from Devine, but Devine didn't know it was Young, so he hits him in the head with the chair. And then, Harris hits the deadliest move in the biz, the schoolboy, and gets the win. So, AMW new champs, maybe one or two mini near falls for me. But for the most part, I enjoyed the match despite some of the more glaring issues that it had, like illegal man being pinned and it being counted. So there's a segment where Trinity and Tracy beat the fuck out of Fairplay. They take his clue and then they give it to Dusty. Well, they rip the clue. So Dusty is like, okay, as a compromise, how about the two of you find 2 teams that have never wrestled in TNA before? You can scour the world and find 2 teams that have never wrestled here before. They will have a match, and whoever is the winner of the match, the person, or whichever team wins the match, the person that recruited the team will then become Dusty Rhodes' personal secretary. So, yay. Women in Western wrestling. That's a whole different topic. I'm just not going to get into it right now. And the next matchup is the semi-main. It is an Ultimate X match between Chris Sabin, Petey Williams, and AJ Styles. And goddamn, am I ready. I was looking forward to this match all pay-per-view. This match was really the only show I was looking forward to on this. This match was the only match I was looking forward to on this show. I knew this match was on this show, but like I said earlier, I didn't expect to watch the show really so soon because I didn't know that it was coming up when it was coming up. But I'm glad that I watched it, glad that I got to watch it. I haven't watched it since it happened, really, so I was pretty excited to see it. All right, so Styles and Sabin, they just team up on Williams, and they just start going at it. Styles does a tope onto both guys, again, close to the dangerously close guardrail. Actually, Styles' legs and lower body actually go over the guardrail into the crowd, so to really push those back a little bit. Petey Williams is part of Team Canada. Scott D'Amore had accompanied him down, but then he gets ejected into this match without rules. Styles has Sabin in the electric chair position, and then Williams jumps up onto the cables, and then he pulls himself across, and they just show this magnificent crane shot. Like it's really, really, really good. Whoever had that shot should really be throwing an extra $5 on their paycheck for that one. But yeah, so he pulls himself across, and then he just does a Frankensteiner onto Sabin. Styles and Williams both scale and meet in the middle. They kick each other, and then Sabin pulls Styles down. Williams hangs upside down. Styles takes out Sabin, and then he does a springboard and just barely catches Williams, who falls down. Williams attempts a Canadian Destroyer, which is then countered by Sabin into a fireman's carry. Williams gets out and holds him into a reverse DDT position. And then Styles, out of nowhere, hits the Styling DDT on Williams, who, by extension, does a reverse DDT onto Chris Sabin. Styles goes for a belt, and then Sabin does a springboard dropkick, and then, that's that, disgustingly beautiful flip bump that everyone seen AJ Styles do from the top of the cables or whatever, the one where it looks like he's about to, he does it all the time, I guess. That's how he just flip bumps, but it's the one where he's scaling on top cable, and then Sabin kicks him. He flings backwards. He starts falling face first, and then he does a flip and lands right on his back, and it looks amazing as well. So kudos to AJ for taking that bump. Williams then hits Styles with a Canadian Destroyer, and I love the way Styles sold it because he just fucking buckled like an animal that got shot. As soon as Williams' ass hit the mat, Styles just crumbled. Loved it. That's how a pile driver should be sold, because you're being spiked on your neck. You just got paralyzed. Sabin and Williams, they scale the structure, they climb, and they're both on top, finally fighting for the belt. And they yank it down, but Styles, out of nowhere, does a springboard, snatches the belt falls, and Styles is the sole person holding the belt. So he wins. Fuck it. Why not? It was a great match. It was a really, really good match. It's a whole lot of no-selling, but, in a match like that, you kind of expect that sort of thing. Regardless, it was a really good match. And now we come up to the main event, that being Monty Brown versus Jeff Jarrett. Now, I don't really think that Jeff Jarrett's theme is very good, but I gotta say that I have always loved that opening riff. I'm not going to imitate it because I already did that with the Abysses. So just go ahead and look up Jeff Jarrett's TNA theme if you want to hear that riff. But that riff has always, I don't know. You know how certain wrestlers have themes, and the wrestlers that are larger than life have themes that just, captivate you? Austin has the glass break, and you hear the glass, that's your ass. And you got The Rock, there's the if you smell, and it's when you hear that smell, it's the crowd will pop. Or the John Cena, he's got the horns or whatever. Well, for Jarrett, it's that opening riff. Don't get me wrong, I am not at all comparing Jeff Jarrett to the magnitude of those guys, but just that feeling that a lot of people get when they hear the riff, the opening sting from these big stars. I have a very similar feeling with that with Jarrett's TNA theme, but it's exclusively TNA. Yeah. The two, they just the match start and they go back and forth for a while. Jarrett does a very dangerous looking pescado. Brown was supposed to catch him in I assume a cross-body position, but he almost didn't catch him, and Jarrett was going face first into the concrete floor, but thankfully Brown did muscle him up. The two brawl into the crowd, and they make their way around to the announce booth. Jarrett hits Brown with a chair as they were brawling, but when they're at ringside, ready to go back into the ring, Jarrett he attempts to use a chair, or he attempts to use the belt on Brown, but for whatever reason, the ref decides to stop it. So, I don't know. This whole pay-per-view was full of inconsistent rules. That's really what TNA was in a nutshell. God, it's really more annoying when I'm an adult and I notice these things more. Yeah. The two get into the ring and they have some questionable counts, and by questionable I mean Jeff Jarrett is literally not getting his mat. Now, he's putting his arm up, but he's not getting his shoulder off of the mat. Two distinct different things. Jeff Jarrett was not kicking out. He definitely should have lost. If that was called as a shoot, like it would have been at WWE, and he attempted that kick out, he probably would have lost. But whatever, ref bump, guitar shot, Rudy Charles gets up. He gets pounced, period, to death. And then Jarrett pulls out another guitar, hidden inside the steps, but Brown counters it, and he actually hits Jarrett with the guitar. Another ref comes out of nowhere, slides in. Jarrett hits Brown with the remnants of the guitar. Like, it didn't break all the way, like they usually just explode on impact. Hit him with the remnants of the guitar. He strokes Brown twice, then he does a low blow, and then he strokes him one more time. And that's the match. Jeff Jarrett wins, as if there was any doubt. I didn't like the match. It was basic TNA 2005 match, honestly. A bunch of nonsense with some very not good crowd brawling and usually a huck finish. So that's what it was, to be quite frank. But yeah, guys, that was the TNA 2005 Final Resolution pay-per-view. Honestly, for me, it was a one-match card, if I'm being completely honest, and that was the X Division match. I did enjoy the tag match between AMW and Team Canada. The match, there were things that I liked in other matches, but for one reason or another, didn't like the matches. The backstage segments felt pointless. I mean, I guess we got some storyline progression of Tracy and Trinity having to find a new team, but I don't feel like you should put that storyline progression on the show that we're paying for. You should put that storyline progression on the free TV, so pay for another show. It's neither here nor there. Pretty decent show. Again, it's a one-match card, but the one match was really good. But yeah, I guess that's TNA Final Resolution 2005, guys. And we can go ahead and jump on into the next review.
Money, 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 money. Oh, money, 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 money.
As I'm sure you guys can probably guess from hearing that, today we are going to review Money in the Bank. But which one, you may ask? Well, that would be Money in the Bank 2011, of course. Everybody thinks 11 when you hear Money in the Bank. I mean, I guess let's go ahead and jump right into it. There was a promo package just showing, it was a slight promo package, just kind of, I can't even say getting everyone up to speed. I'm pretty sure it was just a promo package for the Cena and Punk thing. But the commentators start off insufferably, and then we just get right on into it with the very first match, with the SmackDown Money in the Bank ladder, with the contestants being Wade Barrett, Sheamus, Kane, Justin Gabriel, Heath Slater, Daniel Bryan, Cody Rhodes, and Sin Cara. Again, insufferable commentary. I've got that note quite a couple times. It's really bad during this time. This is also peak Michael Cole heel, where he's got a hate boner for Daniel Bryan and loves The Miz. Hates Alex Riley because he just turned on The Miz. Yeah. So 4 of the 8 guys in the match do some high spots onto the other 4 guys. So I believe it was Sin Cara who jumped onto Sheamus. Heath Slater who jumped. Sin Cara did a crossbody onto Sheamus. I didn't write this down. I'm just trying to go from memory, by the way. Slater did a twisting tope onto Rhodes. Gabriel did something to Kane. I don't remember. I don't remember the offense he did. And I remember that Daniel Bryan did a suicide dive into Wade Barrett. So after Sin Cara does his high spot, he realizes that there's no ladder in the ring. So he goes to get one, and then Barrett attacks him. They tussle for a bit, and then Barrett runs into a post. Sin Cara gets back into the ring, and then he gets bro kicked by Sheamus, and then powerbombed through a table. The EMTs come out, stretcher him out, and that right there, ladies and gentlemen, that wrote Sin Cara out for 30 days for failing the wellness policy. CM Punk chants immediately after that because, of course, there's a spot where Sheamus and Bryan are fighting on the same side of the ladder. Sheamus gets down, puts Bryan in an electric chair position, and then Kane does a flying clothesline. And Sheamus fucking tosses Daniel Bryan. Like, holy shit, talk about not trying to take care of your opponent. He just, I mean, if you ever seen Hawk and Animal, dude, it was the same way. Like, Kane and Sheamus just tried to kill Daniel Bryan here, I swear. Bryan does a crossbody onto Kane, gets caught, reverses it into a DDT that looks so bad that I thought that Bryan was having a move done to him. When I say looks so bad, I mean like Bryan's head snapped off the mat in a very bad whiplash. I would not have been surprised if he got a concussion from that. So, of course, in Daniel Bryan fashion, neck break top of the ladder after that. More insufferable commentary was Michael Cole called Booker T a nerd because Booker T was in band in high school. So Booker T says, well, you were a male cheerleader. Like, who cares? Who cares? Sheamus and Barrett are fighting over a ladder. Slater goes on top. He goes on the top rope, excuse me. They pick him up like a bug and just kind of dump him onto Kane. Kane doesn't catch him very well. Kane gets back in, choke slams Sheamus onto a ladder. Everyone takes turn beating up Kane. Gabriel does a 450 off of a ladder that's bridged on the top rope onto Kane, and the announcers are selling it like it's the greatest move ever. And I don't really understand, like, visually and athletically, it's a lot more impressive when Gabriel or anybody does a regular 450 because, I mean, there's less surface area. It's more of a tight rope that you're jumping from on the top rope. And they were just selling it like it was the greatest thing ever. Why? But whatever. Bryan, Rhodes, and Barrett are on the top rope fighting and reaching and whatnot, and then Bryan hits with a forearm. Cody takes a disgusting flat back bump. He's like, he's either their second or third rung from the top of the ladder, and Daniel Bryan hits him with a forearm. Keep in mind, this is like a 10-foot ladder or whatever. This dude just took a flat back bump, and it wasn't even in the center of the ring. He took a flat back bump onto like, it was like near the corner of the ring, which is one of the harder parts of the ring. And holy shit, like he rolled out, or like he rolled under the bottom rope, and then he just like completely rolled out of the ring. And I'm pretty sure he was really fucked after that. I don't remember seeing him anymore after he took that bump. But the finish comes when Wade Barrett tries to do the wasteland onto Daniel Bryan from the ladder. Bryan counters, and then he kicks Barrett into the head. Barrett falls, and then Bryan gets the briefcase and wins. Good match. Next up, we got Nikki Bella versus Kelly for the Divas Championship. Now, I gotta say that, you know how I was talking about earlier when you hear like a certain star or whatever, and it just incites this feeling in you and whatever, like when their music hits or whatever. Okay, so when I heard that, I didn't watch this card, or I didn't read what the card was going to be like before I saw this. So when I heard that Kelly holla, I was just like, there was this overwhelming feeling of like, go away, John Cena heat. Like, no. So yeah, that was a really, really weird thing. I felt the whole sensation just sweep over. Like I said, this match is for the Divas Championship, and Kelly is coming out point at random things and not look in the direction they're pointing. No. She holds the belt up looking all serious and stoic and grr. So the very first spot of the match is a very, 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 very shake from Kelly. I can't even say it's a head scissors. It was like she hiked up one leg but didn't scissor the head with the other leg. So it was like, I don't know. She looked like an action figure out there. Like if you were to do a head scissors takedown with your action figures, much more fluid than what Kelly tried to do. Kelly then does this like really weird illegal submission move where she puts herself in an electric chair position, so she gets on top of Bree's shoulders, and then they walk backwards to the rope, and then Kelly leans back like with her legs crossed or scissored around Bree's head or whatever, but like a normal person, Bree just gets out of it, and then pushes Kelly onto the floor face first. Like, and then, Kelly just takes a front bump, excuse me, onto the. Who put that? Who put that spot there? It didn't make any sense. So the match is just really boring. Like, Brie just kept putting Kelly in holds, but nothing that either woman did looked particularly good or decent, even. And, like, don't get me wrong, by the time that Brie finished wrestling, I will give her her just due. She became a much better wrestler compared to right here. Kelly still can't run the ropes, so that's all I'll say about that. Kelly gets the hell beat out of her all match, makes a brief comeback, which is just stuffed by Brie Bella. So Brie Bella builds more heat, and then Kelly, I can't even say she counters. She just like pushes Brie off the ropes, and then just gets her in a Fameasser, and then gets a clean win. So nobody looked good in this match, neither from the offense or the booking. Next match was Big Show versus Mark Henry. Now, I really remember enjoying this feud when it happened, so I was really looking forward to this match. The two start off pretty hot, just beating the hell out of each other like two big guys should. The match turns in favor of Mark Henry, throws Big Show into the steps and beginning working Show's knee. Henry just doing a bunch of offense, single leg Boston. Show does a huge shoulder tackle from the top. But the match ends when Henry does a World's Strongest Slam. Show kicks out, so he does another World's Strongest Slam, 2 World's Strongest Splashes. So after the match, Henry puts the Big Show's leg in like the Pillmanized position, and then he goes on to the top rope and does a Vader Bomb. Of course, CM Punk chants. Big Show is then carted off backstage segment with Vince saying that he couldn't get Punk to be signed, saying that he is the most, I don't think he used the word self-centered. I forgot what word he used, but it was definitely class coming from man. Next is the Raw Money in the Bank match between Alberto Del Rio, Kingston, Jack Swagger, Evan Bourne, R-Truth, Alex Riley, The Miz, and Rey Mysterio. And seeing R-Truth on these shows, or seeing Ron Killings on these two shows 6 years apart, I almost said with the same song, but it was this era of Truth when he started coming out to nothing. So, but it is the same song regardless, which is kind of dope that he took his song from TNA and brought it to WWE with him. And I mean, he can do that because it's his song that he has the rights. So on their way to the ring, everyone just kind of grabs a ladder. And I think the last person to come out was Mysterio. Everyone gets in the ring, and they all Del Rio, Cole. I hate that I made so many notes about commentary. They detracted from the whole show. Like I said, this was peak heel Michael Cole, peak loving of The Miz, and Alex Riley just happened to be in this match. There was a moment where he literally said, "Hey, Alex Riley, ha 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 ha." Okay, so everyone is either already out of the ring, they're diving out of the ring, so everyone could do a big indie crowd and can do a shooting star press onto everything. It's a good visual, but it was very nonsensical. Bourne and The Miz climb the ladder. Del Rio down. They both have a terrible looking landing. Bourne more than The Miz. Like The Miz, he lands on his legs, and then they do a worked angle to bring the EMTs, which is the third time they've done, which is a little much. But so Miz lands on his knees, or he lands on his legs, not his knees. He lands on his legs, but he sells his knee, so he's taken out for a kayfabe injury angle. But it's Bourne who lands on his shoulder. Well, he pretty much lands entirely on his, but not really his back. So he lands on his left side, and his shoulder, head comes, and I'm like, holy fuck, that didn't look good at all. After that happened, Kingston started doing something, and then I made the. But he used to have so much more. I was watching this match, and I was like, holy, Kofi Kingston. I mean, he's not jacked, but he was Kofi Kingston here is probably what Xavier Woods is now. Maybe a little smaller, but he's definitely bigger than what Kofi here is definitely bigger than what Kofi is. And then we got to get that just obvious shot of everybody, kind of that quintessential Money in the Briefcase shot of everybody climbing up ladders or everybody climbing up ladders and reaching for the briefcase, even though like Del Rio, who was nowhere near and outside of Powell, was still trying. But you got to get that shot. So whatever, marketing. For one reason or another, everyone just takes a really nasty bump. Like seriously, the bumps were not good. Kofi and Swagger, I forget how they even fall, but they fall and Swagger lands first, and Kofi falls on top of him, and he lands with like his knee onto like the upper chest and neck of Swagger, and I'm just like, ugh, fuck, dude, you couldn't pay me enough to take something like that. So Miz comes hobbling back out and then gets taken out by Mysterio. Ray climbs the mask. I guess that tells you the finish, right? Ray climbs the ladder, but Del Rio also climbs the ladder, and then he snatches off Ray's mask. He pushes him onto a smaller ladder. They slowly topple, and then Del Rio has to set the ladder back up, climb the ladder, and then he wins the Money in the Bank briefcase. And now we come up to our semi-main event of the night, being Randy Orton versus Christian. I guess I should have said that first, because I'm one of those people that believe that the champion should be, introduced or come out or whatever last, just because they're a champion, but whatever. It's Christian and Randy Orton for the World Heavyweight Championship, and there's a stipulation saying that if Randy gets disqualified or if there's any bad officiating, that Christian will win the belt. So hearing the pop that Randy Orton got from this crowd in Chicago, of all places, really just drove home the fact to me that WWE has only really made like 3 stars in like 15 years. That being Randy Orton, John Cena, and Batista. It's really bad that you can't really say that for anybody else. And even Batista, he had to leave the company to really be as successful as he could possibly be. So, that says plenty. As soon as the match starts, Christian goes for a chair, like gives it to Randy, saying, "Go ahead and take a free shot." There's not too many big moments in the match, but it's just really good back and forth. Both two really good, crisp and fluid professional wrestlers. So I hear people say that Randy Orton is the greatest, or that he's one of the greatest of all time. Whatever. Like, people make an argument for Randy being, and I am also of the opinion that Randy Orton is great. But I can definitely see why people would be of the opinion that is not great, because he does not have very great matches. He is not motivated very often. For one reason or another, say what you want, but the argument is there, in my opinion, on both sides. The reason I think that Randy Orton is such a great wrestler is because it's not that he is always pulling out these bangers or whatever, but it's always the ease in which he can do great things. Like a motivated Randy can legitimately, probably one of the best wrestlers in the world as far as like timing, technique. When I say technique, I mean like being technically proficient, facials, like everything that you think would go into professional wrestling, Randy Orton has it, and he doesn't have to kill himself to do it. But anyway, Christian is getting beat up by Randy for a while, but he spits in Randy's face, which to anybody is going to be disrespectful, obviously. And it was. So Randy just beats the hell out of him some more, and then he low blows him. As soon as the low blow happened, the crowd popped huge because they immediately knew what that meant. Christian is the new World Heavyweight Champion. His song gets probably about 3 notes, and then he gets attacked. He gets attacked for a long time, actually. Like Randy, he does an RKO on the table, just beats the fuck out of him, goes up the ramp, comes back, does another RKO, then goes. Like, it's I had to skip it, honestly. It was like, okay, it was dragging a little bit. And now, for the main event, the match that I'm sure you've all probably seen, John Cena versus CM Punk for the WWE Championship. Now, I mean, there were Punk chants all throughout the night. Punk comes home to a hero's welcome. John Cena, very not so much. The two guys just start out chain wrestling. It's a classic slow build match. There was some things that I noticed, like I guess I'd never noticed it before, but Punk is very noticeably and very obviously calling spots to Cena. He's not, bellowing them like Cena does, but he's dipping to Cena's ear probably every 30 seconds and telling him, holy shit, can he not remember something that's going to happen in 45 seconds? Oh, holy, my goodness. Why? Why do you need to constantly tell this man the next spot? I don't understand. But, so that's the thing. The two have this match. The two do a suplex spot from inside the ring to onto the floor. Cena goes for an AA, but Punk, turns out of it, I guess. So Cena actually ends up doing an emerald flosion. And this is where, I started... Okay, this is probably going to be an unpopular... But this match was mid. But all this match was just these two guys either doing double downs or lying in a hold. Punk would put Cena in a hold, Cena would put Punk in a hold, they do a double down, and they were doing double down, wouldn't even count. But so yeah, the guys are going back and forth. Punk gets Cena into the fireman's carry, counters it into an STF. Punk counters that into an anaconda device. Punk finally gets a proper comeback going and hits Cena with the go to sleep. But Cena rolls out of the ring. Cena puts Punk in an STF, and Vince to tell Johnny Ace to go ring the bell. They try to screw it. But Cena clothesline him. Man's on his own turn. It's not going to go down like that, dog. Cena gets back into the ring. Gets hit with the GTS. Punk wins. Huge pop. Vince hops on commentary. Tries to get, he hops on commentary and tells the backstage guys to send Heyo out. Heyo can cash in the briefcase onto Punk. Punk kicks him in the head, and then Punk goes to the crowd and kisses Vince goodbye. Now, again, like I said, I realize I'm probably going to get crucified for this, but fuck. This was a very mid match, guys. I don't know if what I look for in pro wrestling is different nowadays. I don't know if it's just that my standards and tastes are different. I don't know if it's just that at the time people wanted simply Cena to win, Punk to lose. I don't know what it is. Well, this match sucked. Okay, well, I'm not gonna go as far as to say it sucked. It was a very average, middle of the road professional wrestling match with a very rabid, white hot crowd. The crowd for sure helped this match, but if you remove the crowd from this match, fuck. It's literally just 30 minutes of two guys either sitting in a worked hold or doing a double down, and they'll occasionally, do a couple of high spots or whatever, and they just go right back to it. And it's just oh my gosh, the pacing of this match was so. I really wanted to like this match. I did. I was trying so hard this is where this match is gonna start to pick up now. This is where it's gonna fucking turn around. But the more the match went on, the more I was it's getting worse. They're doing more hold or double down. And I think that the reason that this match has looked back so far is because, well, there's a couple of reasons actually. CM Punk was I guess if you want to call it the savior, he was either the savior or he was a guide for a lot of people. There are a lot of people either on the cusp of leaving or who all had already left professional wrestling, and Punk either kept them around or he brought back an entirely new, like, he brought back lapsed fans to watching WWE or even wrestling in general. Like, there were some lapsed fans that he brought back to the entire, like, wrestling landscape of watching. So that's one reason I think this match is regarded so highly. And another reason I think this match is regarded so highly is because it was like Dave Meltzer's first rated WWE match in like 15 years or whatever. Have whatever opinion you want about Dave Meltzer. I think the dude's credible. I'm sure I'll get crucified for that opinion. But what I will definitely say is that his star ratings are opinions. I would definitely say that people should not be so hung up on star ratings for whatever they do. I don't see why his star ratings can actively ruin a match for people. Like, there are people, personally, I think that the Shawn Michaels Undertaker match at WrestleMania 25 was a match. Dave Meltzer and I think Brian Alvarez both gave it a 4.75 star match, or 4.75 stars. That does not detract the enjoyment that I felt/feel whenever I watched that match. I don't understand why so many people hold these opinions as gospel. I understand Dave Meltzer, very respected journalist in the business. Get that wholeheartedly, 100%. I understand that because he is so respected, that some people hold his opinion in a higher regard, but I don't think that that should be the case because it is just his one opinion. Like, if you enjoy a match, you enjoy a match. It shouldn't take Dave Meltzer or Brian Alvarez or whomever else, Wade Keller, to tell you that you enjoyed that match. And on a side note, isn't 4.75 stars 5 stars? Like, I guess if we're going into technicalities, no, but in math, we were always told that if it's after the 0.5, you round up. So take that how you will. Anyway, that was a rant I didn't even mean to go on into. God damn it, I really hate when people take these opinions as gospel. I don't understand why you let these guys ruin enjoyment of wrestling. Any sense to me? Like I said, I have huge amounts of respect for Dave and Brian. I actually listen to The Observer pretty regularly, but they're just men, and it's just their opinion, and that's it. So yeah, I guess that's why this match has been regarded so highly. And hey, if you love this match, if you think this match is fucking more power to you. It exactly ties into what I was literally just talking about. My opinion does not match up with your opinion, so be it. I thought the match was mid. I know there's a couple other people that I've personally talked to who thought the match, or who have, touted it as one of the greatest matches in WWE history at the time, but in hindsight, on a rewatch, it's a pretty mid match. I'm sorry. That's how I feel about it. Yeah, that was Money in the Bank 2011, guys. And that is this episode of the Taking Liberties Pro Wrestling Podcast. Let me know what you guys think of the episode. Feedback. Let me know what you guys want to be reviewed next week. You can either tweet me at Twitter at TLProWrestPod, or you can in the YouTube video. Once again, you can find me on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Breaker. I think I'm on Stitcher. I'm pretty sure I'm at Anchor, wherever. Again, except for Apple Podcasts. I'm working on that in the next 2 weeks. And hey, I'm serious. Go follow me on Twitter at TLProWrestPod, because I really need fan interaction. I would prefer fan interaction how I would like to do this show. So go follow, guys, and if you'd like to, if you want to leave a review somewhere, I'm sure again, you can do that either on Spotify or YouTube channel, or go on Twitter and do it, whatever. And I think that'll go ahead and do it for me, guys. So I want to go ahead and thank you for coming to my little portion of the internet. Thank you for tuning into this episode of the Taking Liberties Pro Wrestling Podcast. And I will see you guys next time.